On today's show, we visit the Pembroke School for the Performing Arts, talk to Donna Healey from Rockland Trust, hear original poetry and from people who stepped up to the mic at the Waterfront Festival, and talk about what's going on in our South Shore towns. We are glad you're here. Let's get started. Do you have cherished memories of dancing school days? If so, you know that proper dance technique is just one of the skills we can learn in dance class. Self-expression, discipline, and increased confidence are just some of the benefits. We went on the local scene to the Pembroke School for the Performing Arts.
I opened my studio. I was actually teaching for someone else, and they were moving out of country. And then they weren't moving out of country. And then they were. And then they weren't. And by the time the scenario had transferred through, I was already in the mindset that I'm ready. I want to open my own studio. I want to work with my dancers, and in the end, she did move out of the country, and I went ahead and opened my own studio. And it was inspiring to be able to do that from a little girl's dream when I was younger. So I'm blessed that way. I have been a dancer about all my life. I actually started roller skating with my neighbors down in Marshfield at the roller skating rink, believe it or not. Competed, got my bars, and then the neighborhood decided to go to dance class. So I went to dance class, and that was age 8 and haven't stopped yet. I danced all through high school, and I was in the top class, and I was assistant teaching, and I was feeling pretty confident, and decided for my career path, I would choose dance. I went to my first audition with my bun up, my leotard on, and I was ready, and it didn't turn out as planned. I was rejected. I was told to work on my basics, and I was crushed. I just wasn't prepared for dance beyond the studio I grew up in. I had to take a ballet audition, fine, no problem. I had to take a modern audition. I had never had modern in my life. I was totally caught off guard. I decided when I opened my studio that I didn't want my students to have that same experience. I wanted them to be prepared. I wanted them to have opportunity. So we've always included modern, ballet, tap, jazz as our basic dance styles at the studio, always.
I've been a dancer for 20 years. My favorite part about coming to work every day is seeing my kids. I love coming here for my students. They keep me here. I love them so much.
I have been a dancer for about 35 years. My favorite part of coming to work, the kids. Their smiles, their excitement in class, they're so eager to learn. Yeah, really the kids.
For me, dance impacted my childhood. It was my safe space. It's where I went to find my friends. It's where I went to self-express. It's where I went to try new things and knew that I'd be supported.
I've been a dancer for about 7, 8 years now. I like coming to dance because it's my one place get away from school and home, and it makes me feel like I have another home.
I've been a dancer since I could stand, probably. When I was less than 1, I was doing a releve against the refrigerator, and that's my mom's favorite picture of me. So, and she knew that I was gonna be a dancer when I did that. I can see my friends, and I just love all styles of dance, and the teachers here are really nice and really welcoming when I come through the door.
I've been a dancer for like 2 years. I get to hang out with my friends and learn new choreography.
I fell in love with dance right away. I always knew that I would be a teacher, and it was either going to be kindergarten teacher or dance. That's where the most fun is.
Dance is my life. I am here every single day. Even at home, I'm dancing. My kids are dancers, and I love it.
Dance has brought freedom of expression to my life. It gives me a space to express myself when I'm feeling in whatever mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I can dance. If I'm sad, dance is fixing it. It's just been kind of like therapeutic for me throughout my whole life. It's been my safe place. Struggling through school growing up, coming here after school was just such a blessing.
Makes me feel happy. Like, it makes me feel like somewhere, someplace to get away from like my sad things in life. Like if I'm having a really bad day, I just go to dance and it makes me feel so much better.
It makes me feel like a normal kid that just comes to dance often and loves to dance.
I'm hoping they take away friendships, time management even. I know that sounds weird, but from dance comes all sorts of weird things like managing your time and counting music.
Not just because of the technical skills of dancing and learning all of the modern and lyrical and hip hop and ballet and tap, it's more than that. It's learning, all the other skills, the confidence, getting on the stage and building your character, and then transferring all those to, outside the studio too. It transfers to school and all your relationships outside the studio.
I hope they take away kind of what I took away from it, that this can be a place where you can express yourself freely and feel no judgment, a safe place to come after school.
So about her, I just want to kind of articulate how important she is to not just my girls, but all the girls and all the kids and all the dancers. And she really just has a passion for the studio, and I'm sure many owners have passion for dance, but she has the compassion for the kids. So she cares so much about the kids. And I would say most importantly, when she ends an email or a letter to the family, she always says to sparkle and shine, and that's exactly what she does. She gets these kids to sparkle and shine on stage and off the stage too.
I think if you're well-rounded, I think that brings opportunities. So if you decide to go musical theater, if you decide to go the college track, if you decide to perform, you bring more to the table. And if you decide to teach, you have better opportunity to be employed because you know more than one style of dance. I hope when they leave here that they take with them lasting memories and friendships. And I know they do because we have an alumni page and we're all sharing weddings and births and milestones. I hope that they take with them an air of confidence that they can bring to their job or their community events. I'm fortunate that I do have second-generation dancers, and my alumni do talk to me, and I think I'm working towards that goal of having them resonate and take with them the skills from the studio.
Visit Pembroke School of Performing Arts.com to learn more. Enjoy an afternoon of music, song, and ritual with Massachusetts singer-songwriter Naomi Westwater at the Duxbury Free Library on Saturday, October 21st. Naomi is part of the Club Passim Folk Collective and was nominated in 2021 and 2022 for the Boston Music Award for Best Singer-Songwriter. Queer and multiracial, their work combines poetry, spirituality, and folk music, seeking the societal return of community, creativity, and collective joy. The music begins at 2 o'clock in the Merry Room. Learn more about Naomi at naomiwestwater.com and register for the event via the Duxbury Free Library website. The 1958 novel The Once and Future King by T.H. White became the basis for the original 1960 Broadway production of Camelot, a wildly successful musical starring Richard Burton, Julie Andrews, and Robert Goulet. Inspired by the legendary tales of King Arthur, Guinevere, and Sir Lancelot, the musical has also been associated with the presidency of John F. Kennedy, sometimes called the Camelot era. This soaring musical production comes to Priscilla Beach Theater in Plymouth for a run from Friday, October 6th to Saturday, October 14th, with several performances to choose from. Camelot is presented through a special arrangement with Music Theatre International. Get your tickets at pbtheatre.com. One of the markers of summer's end here on the South Shore is the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce's annual Plymouth Waterfront Festival. The local Scene Street team was there.
We're with Plymouth's famous Amy Naples. What keeps people coming back to the Chamber's event every year?
Oh gosh, that's such a tough question because there's so many awesome activities, and I think that is what brings people back year after year. Certainly the artisan and crafters, there's so many, there's over 230 artisans, crafters, people do their holiday shopping. There's kids activities, our local musicians and performers that are performing all day, food vendors. It's just an awesome place to come down, bring the whole family, and there's something for everyone, as well as the car show too, that kind of gives a good thing for maybe the guys to check out while the women are shopping. So a little something for everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you for being here. You're such a huge supporter of ours, and we're so thankful.
I'm with Suzanne, who's the chairperson for the board of directors for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. What do you think keeps people coming back every year to the Waterfront Festival?
I think it is the amazing vendors that we have, the phenomenal food, the amazing duck dash that goes off at 4 o'clock, the duck race, and the kids zone. It's awesome for families and anybody.
And what are you looking forward to today the most?
I am partial to the duck dash. I love the race, yeah.
I am with Quackers, the duck. Quackers, what brings you here today?
The Ducky Dash with the Waterfront Festival from the Plymouth Chamber.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Ducky Dash?
Oh, the Ducky Dash is great. You go up to the chamber desk at the front corner here at Brewster Park and you purchase ducks. And then at 4 o'clock this afternoon, we're gonna release those ducks in the park, right down the little pond, and the first one will win a great prize.
That's very exciting. Can I What's it like being a duck, Quackers?
It's a little damp at times. People make fun of me all the time. They tell me I quack them up.
Beautiful.
And, you know, I just tell them just to make way for ducklings as I come through.
Well, I gotta say, it is great to see you today, and thanks for waddling by.
Thank you. That was cute.
I'm with DAQs. What brings you by the Waterfront Festival today?
You know, I come every year to the Waterfront Festival. You know, the Chamber of Commerce, everybody coming here does a great job. It's really a great community event. You see so many different people here, and there's a lot of good stuff to come down and buy. So listen, come down, see the vendors, and make sure you all shop local.
What are you looking forward to most today?
You know, I'm looking forward to just seeing people and having a good conversation with people as you walk up and down. You know, people don't often get to see me and some of the other elected officials and just walking around, and they come up and talk to us and have questions for us about, you know, what we do and what's going on, and we try to be as informative as we possibly can.
Thank you, Tiff. We will bring you more from our street team each week with interviews from new and old friends. Look for our production van anywhere things are happening in our towns of Plymouth, Kingston, Pembroke, and Duxbury. We'll see you on the local scene. The Plymouth Public Library Foundation's 18th annual Taste of the Town is back on October 18th from 6 to 9 p.m. The Pine Hills Village Sports Club is the site for an evening of festivities with the area's top food and wine purveyors to benefit a great cause. Sample delicious offerings from restaurant partners 110 Grill, Alden Park, the Artisan Pig, Bark Barbecue, East Bay Grill, the Food Court, G-Pub, Lobster Love, Mia Thai Cuisine, Plentiful Events and Catering, Wood Seafood, and more. Pioppi's Package Store is a beverage partner for this local cuisine celebration, sponsored in part by TechEdge and Bridgewater Credit Union. Visit the Plymouth Public Library Foundation website to get your tickets. Rocket Man is the Golden Globe-winning biopic about shy piano prodigy Reginald Dwight and his transformation into an international superstar and one of the most iconic figures in pop music history. You'll know Reginald more familiarly as Elton John, and this movie of his life is showing at the Duxbury Senior Center on October 19th at 5:30 p.m. as part of their LGBTQ film series. Don't let the sun go down on you without registering for this event. Visit the Senior Center website. In August, Massachusetts became the 8th state in the nation to permanently provide universal free school meals for our children in public schools. During the pandemic, waivers issued by the U.S. Department of Agriculture allowed all students access to free meals at school, regardless of family income level. This program expired in June of 2022, leaving states to decide whether to carry on with this successful open access initiative. Free school meals have been shown to contribute to improved academic performance, attendance, and socio-emotional health and behavior. Massachusetts Governor Donna Healey signed this provision into the final fiscal year 2024 budget last month, after it passed in the state legislature with major bipartisan support. In a statement, Secretary of Education Patrick Tutwiler said that the new state funding will allow students to focus on what matters, their education. Other states who have chosen to continue universal free meals for students are Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, California, Colorado, New Mexico, and Vermont. Here is poet Mark Walsh in a reading of his original work.
Our next reader is Mark Walsh, and you're in for a treat, another treat.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Jennifer, and America's Hometowns Laureate, and thank you, everyone, for being here at the second inaugural event of the Plymouth Poetry Festival. So my name is Mark Walsh. I teach at Massasoit Community College, but I actually got my start teaching right around the corner on North Street back in the 90s when I started teaching at Quincy College's Plymouth campus down here. And I was involved in organizing poetry events there. That's where I met Miriam, and it's great to be back, as always it is, in Plymouth. Now, the first poem that I'm going to read is part of this collaborative art installation project that I worked on earlier this year when the Poet Laureate of Brockton, the city that I work in, asked me to take part in this project where we had a series of mosaic pieces by an artist from Somerville whose name is Emily Bagarva. And we all had to pick a piece of one mosaic that she had done and write a poem about it. And now all of those 6 pieces are on placards that are right outside the side entrance of the Brockton Public Library. So you can go and check them all out. They're fabulous. And this is my poem, and it's called Slow Wine. Slow wine. A weed is a wonder, tempered by winter's crust and summer's weird heat, simmering with deep-coated growth, knowing a persistent secret like shattered glass shards stitched into a picture. Pulled up each July without surrendering the root, multiple stalks climb for air in a September surge, steady bloom in a season's decay. This is slow wine, a refusal to ferment or convert to a thing consumed, flowers steady in place and time. Fragmented light along dandelion shafts, a thing once broken is stronger by half. Thank you. And this next poem is a villanelle, because I'd never written a villanelle before, and I felt I had to try a villanelle. I didn't want to leave this earth without having written a villanelle. I've now written a villanelle. Will I write another one? Maybe not. But this is called A Destination is Not Some Place for Arriving. A destination is not some place for arriving. Let the detour be the detour meant for you. Keep your eyes on the road that you were driving. Burn a path on this earth for thriving. Do not waste time in the existential queue. A destination is not some place for arriving. You need to be okay with the mileage climbing. A longer route gives better reason to keep your eyes on the road that you are driving. There is nothing in the other lane depriving or leading to that life with promise new. A destination is not some place for arriving. Never surrender the vehicle you are steering. A passenger's life is one without a view. Keep your eyes on the road that you are driving. Own your breakdown. Mix it with your striving. Don't let cheap comparison be your last curfew. A destination is not some place for arriving. Keep your eyes on the road that you are driving. Thank you.
Do you know your rights? The Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination is on a mission to eradicate discrimination in the Commonwealth. On Tuesday, October 10th, learn more about this important commission, its process, and the laws it helps enforce. This program takes place in the Phalo Room at the Plymouth Public Library from 7 to 8 p.m. Visit the library's website to register. Women in Massachusetts of all ages are invited to participate in Worth and Wealth Seminars, a program administered by the State Office of Economic Empowerment. Through 3 program components, including weekly virtual workshops, one-on-one financial coaching sessions, and an on-your-own toolkit, you'll gain knowledge and training on topics of personal finance suited to your unique circumstances. Discussion and training will include budgeting, saving, preparing for financial emergencies, salary negotiation, and achieving long-term financial goals. Register for the Worth and Wealth Seminars at mass.gov. This program runs until February of 2024. The Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra is dedicated to artistic excellence and community enrichment. Here is the maestro himself with more.
Hi, I'm Stephen Karadianis, conductor of the Plymouth Philharmonic. Welcome to our 108th season. It's also my 30th season leading the superb musicians of our orchestra. We open on September 30th with music from Prokofiev's dramatic ballet, Romeo and Juliet, and Peter Boyer's evocative Ellis Island, the dream of America. Actors Marianne Leone and Ed Hoopman are accompanied by the orchestra as they present the stories of immigrants seeking new beginnings. On November 4th, we present 2 audience favorites. We pair the suite to Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring with Tchaikovsky's brilliant violin concerto featuring special guest virtuoso Julianne Lee. On November 17th, we present a gorgeous concert of Baroque-era favorites. It includes Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 2, Handel's Water Music, and Pachelbel's Canon. Please join us to experience the beauty of music, the power of the orchestra, and the thrill of live performances. Tickets on sale now at plymouthphil.org.
Community and business are each made stronger when they are intertwined. Next up, Julie Thompson sits down with Donna Healey, VP and Branch Manager for Rockland Trust, a community bank where each relationship matters.
Donna Healey, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So you're the branch manager of Rockland Trust's Court Street location.
Yes.
And I'd love you to tell the listeners and viewers here about your background with the bank and what brought you to where you are here today.
Oh, love to. So I started with the bank in 2009, and I was a part-time teller at that time, stay-at-home mom, part-time teller. And as my children grew, I grew within the banking world, and I became a customer service representative working at the desk, and then here I am as a branch manager 14 years later.
Wow. How long have you been a branch manager?
I have been a branch manager nearly 5 years.
Wow, good for you.
Thank
Always
you.
in the same location?
No, I've actually been at the Manomet location, the Duxbury location, and now Court Street.
Great.
I came back to Plymouth where I live.
You came back where you live. Now, were you always interested in finance or banking, or what was your upbringing and background in education?
So in terms of finance, I have background in accounts receivable, and then I worked for a subsidiary of State Street Bank, Boston Financial, just handling trades and things like that. customer-oriented trades, and just taking phone calls and such like that. But and I have a passion for it.
For finance.
Passion for finance, passion for numbers.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. Because
Yes.
people either love numbers or they don't.
Correct.
Yes.
And I have a passion for the customer base.
Oh, that's
Anything
wonderful.
customer facing.
Okay, that's great. So now Rockland Trust, certainly anyone familiar with our area knows that Rockland Trust is everywhere. You have over 100 branches. Can you tell a little bit about the expansion of this community bank? Because it's pretty remarkable.
Well, in terms of since I've started with the bank, we've had several acquisitions, and they've been, from my opinion, very well-placed acquisitions. They're thought out and just really proportioned where needed, and where we can geographically place ourselves where a Rockland Trust isn't located there, and maybe there is a need for the customers in that area for us.
Are you just in Massachusetts?
We are just in Massachusetts.
So you have all those banks just in Massachusetts?
That is
and
correct.
the islands, right?
And the Cape and Islands,
Yeah,
yes.
and the Cape and Islands. I was just on Martha's Vineyard and I saw a Rockland Trust. I said,
Yes, you did.
they're here too.
Yes, we are.
Now, your Rockland Trust is identified, self-identified really, as a community-centric bank. What are the different ways that your bank actually serves and supports the local community?
We serve the local community in many ways, some of which is the Credit for Life fairs, the School on Wheels program for children, and the Reading Makes Sense program, again, another child-focused program, and our Mrs. Money program initiative that has been widely acknowledged there within the bank.
Yeah.
And just basically promoting the parades in Plymouth, and that's focused within the
America's
Plymouth
Hometown
area.
Celebration,
Yes, and then the
also
4th
known
of
as
July
the Thanksgiving
as well.
and the July 4th parade.
Yes.
So you also have employees that do an awful lot of volunteering in the community. Is that something that is required, that is just part of the environment that you work in?
So it's not required, but we do allow or give our staff members two paid volunteer days each year. And that's to use, and it could be something that is not bank sponsored.
Sure.
It could be something near and dear to their hearts.
Yeah.
So the 8 hours paid is just something that they can choose to take.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
They just take the day off,
And they
go
support something.
Support something of their choosing.
That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned a couple of the different programs that you run. One of them is a couple of them that I found fascinating. Your Reading Makes Sense, and sense is CENTS, and the S is a $, which is adorable, is for kids.
Yes.
So talk about why you did that and how you give that to children.
So that is a phenomenal program that basically the children who have to read anyway for summer school or, for their education to get these summer reading programs, they read 10 books. They get $2.50 per book. They just love it. They put a lot of effort into these books, and they put a synopsis of what the story was that they read, and they draw a picture. I've seen a child yesterday, as a matter of fact, that added pages so that they can continue their story on that. So
that's great.
They embrace it. The children embrace it, and it's from grades 1 through 8th.
Yeah. Now, is this for your customers that you do this, or do you go into the schools and do this?
So I have gone to the library, and we've put out books there.
Yep.
And some schools, they ask us for the books to hand out to the children, and they don't have to be a customer. However, when they're credited, they go into a savings account at Rockland Trust.
So they're $2.50 per book, goes right into the kids' own savings
Exactly.
account.
Yeah. Once they reach 4 books, they get the deposit put right in.
Oh, that's great. Now, what about Ms. Money's Classroom? What is that?
Ms. Money's Classroom is an interactive classroom through online channels that children from kindergarten through grade 5 can actually go on, and there's activity sheets, and they can do this with their parent or guardian, and they can just enjoy learning
about money. Because kids these days, really, there's not a curriculum in most school systems that teach what is the value of money, and how do you earn money, and how do you save money, and what is interest. And I mean, there's just so much that kids really should know that they just don't know. And let's parlay that into the Credit for Life Fair that you guys do with, like I saw one at Pembroke High School.
Yes.
Can you talk about what was the idea behind your Credit for Life Fair?
So we had been doing it with Plymouth schools, the high schools, for some time, and then they approached us at Plymouth, and we had a couple of team members that had children that went to the Plymouth High school system.
You mean Pembroke?
Pembroke.
Yeah, okay.
Pembroke High, my apologies.
That's okay.
And so they had a need.
Yeah.
And we worked together with the Plymouth High School to see what successes were achieved and kind of learned from that.
Yeah.
And we presented it to the Pembroke High School.
Right, to their Pathways program.
So that has been very well received.
And so that's more for obviously high school age. And that talks about, your first job and affording a car payment and affording rent and all the things that you have to do when you transition from a child into adulthood, really.
Right.
What kind of feedback did you get from the students that went through this?
Well, I can actually tell you hands-on. I've attended and helped out and volunteered at the Duxbury Credit for Life Fair, and I've got to tell you, I'm amazed at these children, young adults.
Yeah.
And they are allowed a budget, and how creative they get to stay within that budget.
Yeah.
They might. We've had people come in. Some children come in and they say, "Oh, well, we're going to room with this one and this one, a couple of different other students." And I said, well, isn't that interesting? You know that you can't afford it on your own.
Right. You need a roommate.
So you have roommates. So
Sure.
The way that they come about it, and
It's great.
they really know what they're doing. And I feel like this is a great step,
Yeah.
great first step for these
This
students.
is something that all the high schools should do, and I think the junior high should do it too, because really it's junior high that you start maybe babysitting or a paper route, and you start getting some money. Right from the get-go, you should know about budgeting.
I think that's a fabulous idea.
Yeah,
Introducing it to the younger.
To the younger group. Now, Rockland Trust also provides scholarships to students up to $3,000 for each scholarship. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So we take applicants in January, and they're awarded in May. And it's great. They submit an essay, and that's a needs-based scholarship that they.
And how many do you give out a year? Do you know?
16.
16?
Yes.
Every year?
Yes.
Now, can a student get a renewal, or do you give it to new students every year?
We do give it to new students every year.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, also, Rockland Trust did something with the business community about small businesses, big dreams.
Oh, yes.
Can you talk about that?
Absolutely.
That whole program and what that meant?
That's a great program for small businesses that maybe don't have quite the wherewithal to maybe have a startup or maybe stay afloat.
Yeah.
They are working with one of our business officers. They develop a business plan similar to what Seed will do, and they nurture them through the whole process. Again, they have to submit a video, so they have to submit something, but and it's basically a commercial for them, and the winner is chosen, and they get $20,000 towards their business. Which is a great foundation for them.
Right. So they're not only getting educated in maybe in an area of their business that they don't know how to do, or they need some support in, and then they vie for the grand prize.
Absolutely.
And you do that every year?
Yes, we do.
That's wonderful. Now, do you think that local banks in general do enough for the community?
I think you could always do more. I mean, that I will say right out of the gate. We can always do more.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
When there's more need,
yep,
absolutely, we should show up.
Yeah. You
So
do
it's
sponsor a lot of things in the community.
Yes.
Roxanne, and a lot of the community banks do, which is wonderful. We're very lucky that we're in an area that we have a lot of engagement with community banks. And Rockland Trust certainly is one of the leaders in that venue. And the last thing I wanted to ask you is, banking in general, people have they've changed their attitudes about banking. Like young people, they don't carry cash. It's all, there's the card, your debit card. There's a lot of people that don't trust banks. I'm not going to put my money in the banks. The banks, they could fail. There's a lot of misconceptions about what banks do and don't do. What do you think the biggest misconception is about banking or local banks in general?
Biggest misconception.
And I'm throwing you a curveball because I didn't.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. I think a lot of times people don't realize that we're here for you. That more so with the fraud that's out there.
Yeah.
People don't realize that you have resources, that we support you, and we'll help to identify things. We know how to identify certain things. Maybe it's a romance scam or something of that nature. They're out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people they're not aware.
They're not aware of it, yeah.
And trust us. Trust us to know what we're doing,
Right.
and stop in if you have any questions.
And no
We're
questions
happy
dumb, right? That's
No
the other thing.
question
People
is
have to
dumb.
realize that
No.
when it comes to your money, especially, because that's to a lot of people, that's the most important thing.
Finances is
Yeah.
a very personal thing.
It is. It's incredibly
And
personal.
we take that personally to you.
Yes.
So relax.
Yeah.
Come in.
Yeah.
And we'll guide you.
Do you foresee a day where there are no more brick and mortar banks, that it's all done remotely and online?
I have been asked this. I don't see that. I really don't. I think you're always going to see that. You know, you've got all of these commercials out there for online banking.
Yeah.
They're not going to solve all your problems.
Right. They're
And
wonderful.
I
They're
think-
wonderful convenience for some people,
Correct.
but they're not the answer for everybody.
I don't think it's the answer.
Yeah. And I think when people are buying their first home or applying for an auto loan or have some big financial transaction that they're unsure about, there's nothing like a face-to-face conversation with a person.
That's what I
Yeah,
love.
especially a person that lives in your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the face-to-face. I wouldn't do what I do,
Yeah,
and
if
I
you
wouldn't
didn't.
walk through the door if I didn't.
Oh, good for you. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about as far as what Rockland Trust does for the community or plans to do in the future?
I think we're just going to full steam ahead and hope that we can continue doing what we're doing and just supporting our community just the way that we.
Well,
we
thank
have
you
been.
for all that you do for our community. We really do appreciate it.
Well, we are glad to do it.
Well,
Trust me.
And thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Julie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that is what's good and good to know on the local scene this week. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the local scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.